Welcome back to the Era Podcast. Today we're talking about the best time of the month, Christmas Eve.
That's right.
It's coming. It's March Madness. We're here. We got brackets in front of us. Today I'm joined by Kyle Wilson. Actually played in the NCAA D3 Christian League.
Yeah. Girls League.
Girls Championship.
No, D2. I didn't give myself enough credit.
It's okay.
Sorry, D2.
Trivia expert, really good friend of mine, loves basketball, Kentucky fan, as you can see by the jersey.
Reppin'.
So brought in my friends, brought in my dad. I love you, Dad.
Yeah. About 3 people turned him down, and then
At least.
at 8:45,
And then he got us.
he said, "You know a lot about basketball, don't you? Please come up."
Well, it is what it is. So
You watch basketball?
Sure.
it's literally all he does. Judge Judy turns off, and it's just basketball from November to March.
As long as basketball's not on between 3 and 5.
That's Judge Judy time?
Judge Judy's
Yeah.
time, yep.
3 to 5.
Yeah, Steve does 3 to 5 Judge Judy in between basketball Yellowstone episodes.
Oh, yeah?
And then ridiculousness past midnight. That's his.
No Wheel of Fortune?
No,
No.
not really.
He's too smart for that.
Yeah. You know them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, interesting year for March Madness. Couple teams got snubbed, so let's just start off by that. We are in the state of Indiana. What do you think about Indiana State getting snubbed?
Crazy. Ranked number 29th in the country, the highest seed in basketball not to make the tournament. Pretty crazy.
Ever?
I don't know if ever. I
Yeah.
know this year.
This year.
But, you think about it, just because you don't win your conference tournament, you don't get in the NCAA.
Yeah. I remember Indiana State got ranked back in February, maybe late January, for the first time since Larry Bird was there. They got ranked. And then they went and lost 2 games while they were ranked to inferior opponents because the conference they're playing in isn't the best conference.
When you look at those quad wins, or
the
losses,
net rankings.
dude, they took a loss on the road to Michigan State by what, 8
Right.
or 10? Like, it's
Yeah.
not a bad loss.
Yeah.
Plus, you got to think for the NCAA too. I would imagine the clout of a team. There's not really a team in that was in like the top first 4 out and in that had as much clout as him. The big dude with glasses,
Cream.
Think about
Kareem
that.
Abdul-Jabbar.
Who doesn't want a guy that looks like us that wears goggles playing in the NCAA tournament? We would have all been for them.
NIL would have been going
everybody
crazy.
would have been pulling for them.
I wanted him in the tournament.
Yeah, he's
I
built
think
just like me. About 250.
The reason I think they didn't get in was nothing they did. It was all those bid stealers.
Right.
Did you see there was like 5 bid stealers?
5 or 6 bid stealers
Like
knocked them out.
NC State, Duquesne.
But here's the funny thing about that: the bid stealers knocked them out, but Michigan State gets in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think coaching has a lot to go in that too. Like,
They didn't put
the
Michigan
name.
State in; they put
Yeah.
Tom Izzo in.
yes, like,
Well, I saw
Steven Izzo.
the net rankings had Michigan State as a top, I want to say 30 team in the net, which the net is something that I don't really understand. I understand the quad 1, quad 2, like what it has to take to be a quad 1 win. I understand that, but I don't understand how you are 18 and 14,
18, 14,
I think,
yeah.
and top 30 in the net.
Did you see
Like
what
that
Rick Pitino
that
said
doesn't
today?
make sense. Yeah.
I it's a good screenshot. I think it's hilarious. He said, I think we should probably never mention the word net again because I think it's fraudulent.
It's very it's very inconsistent. So you're top 30 in the net in Michigan State, so you get in. But St. John's, I'm not sure what their number is in the net. But other teams are higher in the net, but their strength of schedule is lower.
That's
and
the
they don't
problem.
get
There's
in.
too many
variables.
analytics
Yes.
to say the net and the Ken Palm and all these things. And
I feel like it's just a way to cover up, like, we're going to put in who we want to put in. And
Maybe.
Then, like,
Exactly.
confuse you guys.
I did listen to a podcast today, not near as good as this one, but it was talking about how there's 12 people in the room. They're different, or maybe it was 10
From
people in the
different
room.
conferences,
Yeah, and they're different every year, and they give them like 12 criteria. Here are your 12 criteria. So record, away record.
okay, that's
net
another analytics
ranking.
we didn't just talk about.
Like they give them 12 different things. Like could be strength of schedule, all these criteria, and they say each individual rank these things however you want to rank them. So 5 of them could go road wins matter most. The other another 2 could go strength of schedule matters most. The other 3 could and that is different every single year. how Kentucky lost to A&M on Friday night and still got a 3 seed. I was watching this
It
thing.
was probably predetermined. They probably already had
Maybe
the 3, and they just didn't.
But they said the committee this year valued road wins. Kentucky has road win at Mississippi State, at Tennessee, at Auburn. Good road wins. Last year, if they don't value that, maybe Kentucky's a 4. And it's not. I just know more on Kentucky, but it's like you think they would have like 5 criteria every year. They're exactly the same, but it's different every single year.
I think Cal was shocked he got a 3 today. They were talking on KSR today, and they said that they're pretty sure he's shocked he got a 3
probably
after that loss.
Yeah.
Another team that was, we talked about Michigan State, but another team that I was surprised was Colorado State. Their net ranking was 59.
Lowest net ranking to get in that large, I think.
Yeah.
Or did they win? They didn't win their conference.
No. But they're in the play-in, right?
Yes.
Right.
Tuesday? No, Colorado.
No, Colorado.
Oh,
So
Colorado
yeah,
State.
they got
Right.
a bye. They got
Yeah.
in. Yeah.
So that was interesting because
Yeah.
I mean I don't think Virginia should have got in.
No,
either.
I don't think.
Third in the ACC.
Yeah, I don't think
They
so
lose 10
either.
games.
I was.
Who wants to watch them play? They play so slow and deliberate.
Nobody wants to
I want
watch
the
that.
big guy from Indiana State playing.
Exactly.
You
Yes.
know?
Nobody wants Virginia versus
No.
Wisconsin or
Sorry,
whatever.
Cal guy, right?
Yeah,
I don't know if there was. I was less shocked at specific teams and more shocked that the Big East only had 3 teams. If you go to KenPom, what
Right.
you mentioned earlier, and they will break down every team, but they will also break down every conference.
All right.
Big East rated out as the second best conference on KenPom, and there were like 4 or 5 other conferences that had more teams. So I was less shocked at this team, that team, more shocked that the Big East didn't have more than 3 teams, because you could have gone either way: Seton Hall, St. John's, Providence. Like you could have gone those 3. So I was shocked that the second best conference didn't have more teams in.
This is the first break. Our sponsor today for the podcast is Focus Pro. If you need a training tool, it is Focus Pro. You can take out the rings and you can really completely blind your vision, take out all your peripherals. If you need a better training tool, go to focuspro.biz today and grab yours. Kyle, let's talk about some trivia, man.
Let's do
You
it.
ready for the first bit of
I'm
trivia?
relying on Steve.
Okay, it better be old trivia then.
I was going to say, this one is probably pretty easy for both of you, but I'm going to ask it. Who has the most tournament points ever total?
Most tournament points ever.
So it's combined, whether they played 4 years, 3 years, whatever it is.
I have a guess. Do you have a guess?
Think about this. Like they have to go somewhat far.
Gotta
'cause
go
that'll-
pretty deep.
Yeah.
Okay,
Gotta
yeah.
play more
Consistently.
than one year, one and done.
So it's got to be an older player.
Older.
Older.
My guess, because he has back-to-back titles, played I think all 4 years, would be the hated Christian
Christian
Leitner.
Leitner. Yes.
That is my guess, Christian Leitner.
That guess would be correct.
Yeah.
All right.
I know that hurts.
That's
for you to
exactly
say,
what I
too.
was going to guess too. I guess Christian Leitner.
Lightyear.
Edit
Buzz
that.
Lightyear.
You can edit that and have him say it first.
Here's the question. What tournament came first?
The NIT.
Well,
That's for the old guy.
yeah. Well,
Is this true? My dad told me this once.
no.
Why are you asking
Kentucky. No. This question, because you're old.
me? Anytime you say my dad, I mean, I knew that was coming towards me.
One time, Kentucky won the NIT and the NCAA tournament in the same year. I don't know if that was like legal back in the day where you could play in
No,
both.
I thought at one time the NIT was played at the start of the year.
Oh.
That could be. That's a good
Oh.
question.
That's
Could
if
be.
that's the case. But yeah, it used to
Christian
be the main
Leitner.
one, right?
Okay. Well, let's get right back onto this. Kyle, let's talk about your bracket, man.
All right.
Let's talk about your favorite game in round
Oh.
1.
That's a great question.
Because I have one,
You have one?
but I want to hear yours first.
My favorite game, the 8 and 9s are always good. In recent years, the 7 and 10s have seemed to be a little bit better than the 8 and 9s. However, I am gonna go with New Mexico and Clemson. I think that's who they play.
Yes, it is.
Yes, New Mexico and Clemson. I believe that's a 6 versus 11
Mhm.
in the West bracket. Haven't watched much Clemson, but from what I've seen of New Mexico, they're a fun team. 4 or 5 scores in double figures, and as you know, I like to dabble in the sports betting arena. And
bring up our second sponsor, I wish.
Last night I noticed that spread. I was surprised at this. New Mexico was favored
over them, yes.
-1.5. The 11 seed, which I'm sure has happened
Kyle,
at least once.
What's the number one upset on my list right there?
Number 11, New Mexico to upset Clemson.
Yes.
Now, I don't know. I have that as well. Here's my fear. Every year I feel like this happens. 1 team, 2 teams, 3 teams, they get talked up as the 5-12 upset, as the 6-11 upset, and because that team is talked up so much, that Power 5 team that's the 5 seed or the 6 seed goes, oh, we're the ones being talked about.
Can you imagine in the locker room with Clemson saying we're the underdog in this game?
Yeah, as a 6 seed, as a Power 5 conference, and it seems in the past few years, at least what I've watched, is every time that team is talked about, the Power 5 wins or the higher seed wins. But I did pick New Mexico to win that game against Clemson. But I think that's probably the one that I am most interested in as far as the first round goes.
I'm going an 8-9 matchup. I'm really excited for the Northwestern Florida Atlantic game.
Oh,
I don't know why. As soon as that got drawn, I was like, you know what? I'm really looking forward to that game.
Yeah,
also, the Grand Canyon game.
Yeah, Grand Canyon. I also have winning
over St. Mary's.
St. Mary's. That's like a 2 different teams. St. Mary's loves to just like grind it out, slow it down. Grand Canyon is on the other end of
29-4 this year. Tough.
Yeah,
tough,
they are. The FAU back, Final Four last year, come in ranked, I think, in the top 10 preseason, and kind of been a little disappointing, I think, for for what they were supposed to be. Now, if you didn't know anything about last year and you saw FAU as an 8 seed, you'd probably go, "Wow, never even
Congrats,
really heard
guys.
of them." But as what they were supposed to be and what they did last year, probably a little underwhelming. I love Boo Buie though. Northwestern.
Tough.
Yeah, that guy's tough. And then FAU, of course, I'm gonna forget his name as of right now. FAU as a kid averaging like 18 a game. So watching those two go back and forth would probably be a fun game.
You got a first round favorite?
I got 2,
Papa?
but I'm going to preface this by saying, as the elder statesman at this table, this year, think about that. This year, I think there'll be more upsets than normal, and the reason is,
I hope
there was a big discussion today on sports radio that
What's the radio?
on Sports Album, we were listening to an album. We had a cassette in, and this is what they said, or an 8-track.
Papa threw the 8-track in.
The 8-track said today. They were talking about what NIL has done.
Yeah.
And you think about that. Every team now has 5 or 6 guys that are getting paid. Mm-hmm. And a lot of those 5 or 6 guys came from big teams.
A Power 5.
Power 5 came down to another team because they wanted to make some money and they wanted to play.
Yep.
So the parity in college basketball now is crazy.
It's greater than it's ever been. And greater, I mean, more fun and also a bigger gap, like a wider.
So I see you shaking your head. You agree with me, correct?
I agree with you,
Great.
and I would
Then
add
you're
one
gonna
thing.
love these 2 picks. You
Okay.
ready? Here's my 2 upsets first round. I got Yale over Auburn.
Oh, wow.
Yale over Auburn. Yale has a really, really good big guy, and they play really slow. And if they can slow Auburn down enough to frustrate them, 13 over a 4. My second one is College. This may look bad on the SEC, but anyway, College of Charleston over Alabama.
Yeah, I was very close to picking that, mostly because Bama did not finish off the regular season or the tournament very well. Almost loses to Arkansas at home the last game of the year, and then goes and loses to Florida.
This is like the Derby. You have to look and see who can run the last leg and who's running well right now.
Yep.
And that's why you take a lot of these teams like College Charleston played really, really well into the season. So
Another one, I'm taking James
Madison.
James Madison over Wisconsin.
I took that one. Matter of fact, I filled this bracket out tonight. I always like to fill it out really fast and leave it alone and then like go back to it on Wednesday. But as I was doing it really fast, I have James Madison in the Elite 8.
Do you really?
I do.
Okay,
And
here's
I'm-
the scary thing. I have James Madison as an upset too, and you have to remember this. There have been a 12 over a 5 in
Every
the
year,
last
right?
53 years. There's
53 in a row.
Yeah, 53.
So here's my worry. I mentioned this earlier.
Now they're not.
The popular one,
Right.
right? So the one that I could see happening only because it's the one nobody's talking about. It's the one that has not gotten, James Madison. You have your McNeese State. A lot of people are talking about McNeese being
Gonzaga.
that upset. A lot of people are talking about Grand Canyon. The one that you could see is UAB. San Diego State is a team, again, high expectations, go to the final national runner-up last year, kind of didn't prove what they were supposed to prove at the beginning of the year. I know nothing about UAB. I'm going to be the first to admit that I know absolutely
gonna pick 'em.
nothing, but it's the game that no one's picking.
Right.
All these other teams, right? Wisconsin's going, oh no, people are picking against us. St. Mary's going, oh no, people are picking against us. Gonzaga. UAB's sitting there. San Diego State, slow tempo, likes to grind it out. I could see UAB maybe pulling off the upset.
Okay, here's another one for you. Think about this.
I love it.
Most people won't pick this one. I did.
Oakland.
Samford.
Samford over Kansas.
And you know why? Samford is very okay.
I got
love you
Samford
too.
over Kansas.
Okay, Samford is very, very deep, and Kansas is very hurt.
They
right
got
now.
4 players,
that are injured.
and that's when they're healthy.
yeah.
Look, 4 good players, 5 good players when they're healthy. Bill Self said Dickinson's good to go,
Yeah.
but coaches lie
Yeah.
about injuries.
I heard the
all
other way. I heard
time.
he's not playing, but the other dude is.
Really?
playing.
Yeah. Well, I
that's what I'm
heard I
saying.
heard he's playing, but they said he's like 50%. He's going to
Yeah.
play because it's the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
But you throw him out there, and if he's not ready, it's not going to do him any good.
Again, this is the I just did this bracket without looking at any KenPom, any statistics whatsoever. In that game, I actually have McNeese playing Samford.
Okay, here's the funny thing, because all three of us have all these upsets. This will be the biggest chalk year
100%.
ever. Every favorite one.
Braden's gonna clip
Can't
this on
use
his.
any of this.
Braden's
have to
gonna clip
remove
this.
this podcast after the second round.
He's gonna clip us for sure when every 1 and 2 seed is in the Elite Eight. Absolutely.
Well, here's another trivia, and my trivia is dumb because I'm 26. Kyle, you're 40.
Easy.
I'm just kidding. And you're
37.
70. So
How old are you?
Somewhere between 60 and 70.
Okay.
So to me, this is a hard question. You guys probably gonna get it right off the bat. Which player led San Francisco to back-to-back NCAA tournament titles in 55 and 56?
Wilt Chamberlain.
Other one.
Try again.
The one who dominated Wilt Chamberlain in the NBA. The GOAT.
Yeah, exactly.
Bill Russell.
Bill Russell. Yeah.
Dude, I forget. Like you're just such a good.
I'm
trivia
just
player.
old.
Old soul.
Old soul.
So here's a.
I'm just old.
and
You're an
really,
old soul.
Really, I'm just a nerd.
Yeah.
Is what it is. That's it.
So a couple years ago, number 1 seed comes in, Virginia, gets beat by the Golden Retrievers.
I mean, just the mascot alone. UMBC, right?
UMBC. I remember my friend Reggie, literally the next week bought a UMBC hat, and he wears it all the time. So this is funny, like the fame of that.
You'd never have heard of them
No.
again or before if it weren't for
No.
that, right?
And then, so that team, Kyle Guy, that whole group loses.
Mm-hmm.
They come back. There's 100% success factor in getting knocked off by a 16 seed,
Mm-hmm.
and then the next year coming back and winning.
Yep.
So
one for one.
So we have to talk about Purdue.
Purdue.
What are your thoughts on this Purdue team?
Purdue's really good. If you look at eye test, I think UConn is the best team. Just watching them, what they do to other teams, UConn. If you were to look at computer rankings, KenPom, Torvik, Elo, again, I'm a nerd. Houston is like number 1 in all the computers.
They weren't number 1 this weekend.
They were not number 1 this
Okay.
weekend. If you look at what have you done actually on the court, it's Purdue. They beat Tennessee early on in Maui. They beat Gonzaga early on in Maui.
Their schedule was
They beat, I think, Marquette
right.
early on. That Maui tournament was really good. And of course, you're playing in the Big Ten. They're beating Illinois on the road. They're
IU
crushing
big
IU
wins.
both games.
which we hate to see that.
Yeah, I hate to see it. But if you just looked at the team, if you took history away and just said Purdue, number 1 seed, who they've beat, 3-4 losses maybe with the one in the Big Ten tournament. Yeah, you put them in the Final Four.
Right.
Easily. The National Player of the Year last year, the National Player of the Year this year, pretty good guard play. Edey averaging 24 and 12.
And can dominate guarding
can dominate
the paint.
a game. But can you pick them?
I don't think you can pick them.
I don't know if you can.
I don't know if it's players or painter or the bright lights of the NCAA tournament.
I don't know.
But
Two of my best friends in the world are die-hard Purdue fans.
Okay, this leads into a good one, and Braden's supposed to be asking a question, but I
You're
wrote
good.
this down today. Is like
I love it.
what and unfortunately, I have Purdue versus Creighton.
That's
and
what I
Creighton
have.
beating them out. But what would be your first number 1 to go down?
That's a great question.
Yeah. I have North Carolina.
I have North Carolina too.
I on here, maybe it's a homer pick. I have Houston going down to A&M, but
Obviously, you haven't watched Houston very much.
I have watched a lot
Well, we
of
just
Houston.
watched A&M too, so
And like I said, it's probably a homer pick because I don't want to play Houston.
Right.
If Kentucky gets past Marquette, A&M's extremely physical. They're great offensive rebounding. That's what Houston wants to do to you. They want to just beat you up. That's why I think Kentucky would really struggle against Houston because they just
like,
want to
like South
beat you up.
Carolina did.
Exactly.
South Carolina
But-
was the first team of the year just to beat the snot out of Kentucky.
Yes,
And everybody
absolutely.
saw how that was, and they started letting them have
But
it.
A&M can beat you up as well. And so I think mine is Houston, but again, this is just first initial, going to do this bracket really quick. So you have UNC going down to the 8-9, or do you have them?
Let's see where I had them going out.
They play.
While he's looking at that, I really don't want to see a back-to-back from UConn. Does anybody want to see that?
Do we want to see it? No, Lord
You know,
no.
the funny thing is,
was
I
the
don't
last
think anybody wants to see UConn win because, like geographically where they're located, nobody even watches. I mean, nobody, it's UConn.
Well, and it's a
Hurley.
Hurley.
Yeah.
No
This
one.
is a
wants to
trivia
see
question
UConn.
of itself, but I'm going to answer it. Was Florida the last team to do it?
Yes.
Was that
06, 07.
07, 08 or something like that?
06, 07.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see
Joakim
UConn go
Noah.
back.
No, especially no. I mean, UConn fans want to see it, but nobody wants to see that. Unfortunately, that's what I have written down.
I have Michigan State beat North Carolina.
That's who you have? Okay. I have Mississippi State beating
That's
Michigan
a
State.
That's a bold pick, Papa.
Well, like I told you, NIL and the portal
Yeah,
and all
the
this
portal,
stuff.
both those
this
things.
This is upset city this year.
Yeah. Hopefully it's happening to other teams. But yeah, as of right now, it's Houston. But when I get online and go for that perfect bracket, right, on ESPN, or when I join my friend's bracket or my staff bracket, I will probably think twice about having A&M beat Houston. And then once again, I told you earlier, I have James Madison in the Elite Eight. Part of that is because I have A&M beating Houston, so that will probably change
won't
too.
be asked next year to come back.
Probably
with that
not.
pick. Yeah. Okay, so if we said Purdue, where would Purdue go out?
So
It's for first round.
here's my thing with this bracket. Number one, they're not losing to a 16.
No.
They're not. I know Purdue fans are going to be they're going to be anxious. They're going to be, what if this team does what last year's team does and takes Edey out of the game? They're not losing to a 16. They're 8-9.
Which I don't think either
Utah
one of the
State,
8-9s can beat
TCU.
them.
I don't think I see that happening as well. Here's my thing with this bracket. The Midwest bracket, again, everything is an opinion, and we may not be asked to be back. The Midwest bracket, to me, is the bracket that looks like it's going to blow up the most.
But at the same time, I think it's the easiest path
Right.
for the one.
Yes. But
okay, we threw Purdue out, but I really think when you really look at this, they have an easy path. They really should, because we already took Kansas out earlier with
exactly.
Stanford. So now who's going to beat them?
If you just said one seed with their resume and the teams that they've beat, and you took the name Purdue off of it, you'd slot them in the Final Four, or at least the Elite Eight.
I'd love a Final Four of Tennessee and Purdue. That would be really fun.
I have Creighton beating Tennessee. But yeah, you're right. If you just took the name off the jersey and put their resume on it, you'd have them slotted a sleepwalk to the Elite Eight,
Mm-hmm.
and then we can talk when they get to Creighton and Tennessee. but because their jersey says Purdue.
Well, maybe this is Matt Painter's year to show us what a
Maybe.
great NCAA basketball coach he is.
Maybe it is.
Maybe we won't see that walk of shame.
Here's the
at
thing. I do think Matt Painter's a great
I think he's a great coach.
college basketball coach, but look, last year when the first year this happened,
Right.
they lost to St. Peter's, rip for Kentucky. They lost to St. Peter's. They've lost to North Texas when North Texas was like a 14 or 13. They've lost to double-digit seeds a lot. And so I'm never going to say, oh, I hope they make it, because I only root for one team. But, like, golly, you got to make it once, right? If you're that dominant in the
well,
regular season.
Is this their year?
No.
Okay. No, well, not in any of our brackets. But I mean,
I got them in the Elite Eight. I will say that. I got them in the Elite Eight.
okay. Yeah. The question just was which woman. I'm not saying they won't go out far. I just said I think North Carolina or Purdue will be the first number one to go
One
out.
of those two?
Just
Yeah.
You know.
Insert trivia. This one, I'm going to sorry, guys. I've been on
Stump
my
us.
phone. I've been trying to stump you
Stump
guys.
us.
In 1985, Villanova became the lowest seed to ever win the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
He knows it, right? What is it?
I don't know it.
What was their seeding?
9.
It's either an 8 or a 9.
Eight
It's
or
one of those.
You guys gotta give me. I'm trying to stump you, so you gotta give me a definitive answer. It's
Eight-
the
8
lowest.
or 9.
Hey, how about you guess one? I'll guess the other. One of
Okay.
us will
I
get
say
it right.
8. No, I said 9.
All right, I'm going to say an 8 seed.
It's an 8 seed.
That's what I was going to say.
Who did they defeat?
They beat Georgetown. Patrick Ewing, Georgetown.
Dude, you're so good.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I can tell you about every case on Judge Judy, but some of these are stumping me here.
So we said that the all-time leading scorer in the tournament was. Do either of you guys know who the all-time leading scorer for NCAA Division I is?
Caitlin Clark.
Pete Maravich.
Yeah.
Pete Maravich. Yeah.
She beat his record.
Yeah. Well, she would be now. Yeah, right.
Yeah. But it's
You know, there was no 3-point line.
That's what it says right here.
And that guy averaged
45 a game, right?
45 or
44.
47 or something a game.
You know, he played for his dad
Yeah.
and shot whenever he wanted. But still, amazing.
Another one.
The pistol.
Yeah.
There was. Is that Pistol Pete?
Pistol Pete, yeah.
What are you talking about?
I would.
You've heard of Pete Maravich and you've heard of Pistol Pete, but you didn't know they were the same person?
I didn't know Pistol Pete's last name was Maravich.
Man.
Kyle.
His middle name's Pistol. It's Pete
can't be
Pistol
true.
Maravich. Yeah, really.
Pete Pistol.
Braden's asking us the trivia question, and he doesn't know who the Pistol is.
It's my dad's all-time favorite player.
Yeah.
Pistol.
Really?
The Pistol.
Shout out, Dad.
Who did he play for, Braden?
Huh?
Who did he play for?
I have no clue.
Okay, that's one
LSU,
thing that
yeah.
I can reel off is colleges.
Yeah.
NBA
Have you
players
ever
in
seen
college. I'm a little rusty, but I can reel off some
While I ask
NBA
this
players
next
in
question,
college.
just think about a random NBA player. He'll tell you who they went to college for. It's the crazy thing. Probably tell you the jersey number too. Think
Now I'm
about
on
it
the
right now.
spot.
Just name
Now
an
I'm on the
NBA
spot.
player.
Matumbo.
Georgetown,
Yeah, that was easy.
Klay Thompson.
Washington State.
I can't even think of like.
I will say newer ones I struggle with because I haven't watched as much NBA as I used to. So
Okay. What year has been the only year that all 4 one seeds made it to the Final Four?
do you know it?
Mm-mm.
2009.
2010.
8. 2008.
This is 2008.
Do you know what the teams were?
I'm gonna guess. Memphis.
Yep.
Kansas.
Yep.
UCLA.
Yep.
UConn.
Nope.
No, that was Gillespie
Louisville?
years.
Gillespie.
Okay, Kansas.
Kansas, Memphis, UCLA.
Kansas beat Memphis in the title.
This is a 30-minute show, man.
North Carolina.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that was a
guess.
guess.
You
They
can
won it
tell.
in 09, so I
Right.
was like,
All right, last trivia question. This
Okay.
is a really random one. Shout out trivia flashcards .com.
Is it a real website?
Yep.
People are looking that up right now.
Triviaflashcards.com. I know I'm doing at work tomorrow.
I'm just kidding.
Just
It's called,
kidding.
this is Quizlet.
Quizlet.
Quizlet. Which move was banned from the NCAA from 67 to 76?
You know this?
Dunk.
Yeah. That's kind of crazy.
That's when I play. They wouldn't let me dunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly why I was eliminated.
It says the
for sure.
NCAA banned it due to injury concerns as well as the slam dunk wasn't a skillful shot. However, many people believe that the real reason they banned it was because Kareem Abdul-Jabbar
Was
couldn't be
dominating.
stopped.
I mean, if they watch the dunk contest in recent years, they would agree that it's not
Yeah.
a skillful shot.
Can you do high schools like you can do
Come again?
colleges?
No, I don't know where they go to high school. I mean, I could guess Oak Hill or Lalu or
Or
Yeah.
prolific
Montverde or
Any
IMG
prep
and
school.
Be, and be okay. I mean, I know Romeo Langford.
Where'd he go to high
No,
school?
Albany High School.
Freaking.
Just really sticking your neck out on that one, Ray.
Some Kentucky players I could, but not too many.
Now I'm just trying to find NBA players. Like I'm trying to. I gotta get you.
Who
here.
do you have winning it all? You never said.
That's a great point.
Houston?
I do have Houston winning.
Is that right?
Yeah.
How far? You got them beating Kentucky in the Elite Eight.
No, unfortunately, I don't.
You got
no,
Marquette.
yes, I do have them beating Kentucky in there in the Elite Eight, and then I have in the Final Four, UConn, Arizona, Houston, and Tennessee.
Okay.
Anthony Bennett.
Anthony Bennett, UNLV.
Dude, that's crazy.
Okay, how
I
about
have-
this? Jeff Lamp,
I've never heard of Jeff
Lee
Lamp.
Raker,
Kentucky.
no,
I don't know. Jeff Lamp.
Virginia.
You making up names?
No, I'm
You
just-
looking around the room and
Yeah.
What about Lamp?
Raker.
Yeah.
Right.
What about
Those
Todd?
guys, they played
Fuller?
at Ballard. Those guys
Todd
played at
Fuller.
Ballard.
Yeah,
Never heard of him. Virginia.
it doesn't even say on here. So you could have said any team. I'd be like, yeah, that's right.
Todd Fuller. Sounds familiar. I'm gonna guess
I don't know. So I mean,
SF Austin.
sure.
Got it.
All right, before we get off here, what are your favorite Cinderella runs since you've been watching the NCAA tournament?
Favorite Cinderella runs.
I have one.
Go for it.
My favorite would be Valvano,
Oh yeah, NC State.
NC State against Georgetown when they were supposed to absolutely not have a chance. They
Yeah.
dunk at the end of the game.
Only dunk of the game.
All right, and his
It was actually a band back then. Did you guys know that?
actually that was a shot. I'm pretty sure. And
Oh,
it
for
wasn't-
sure it was
you
a
know,
shot.
he-
Yeah, it was
he
an air
shot,
ball.
Yeah, and his brother was our neighbor for a while.
Oh yeah.
Bob,
Yeah.
who does Louisville color.
Was that 83? 84?
It's in the,
82?
yeah, something in the middle 80s,
Yeah.
I think. But,
It was actually
Yeah.
cool. So I filmed a wedding for his nephew,
Oh.
Valvano, and
Yeah.
on his wedding back then they didn't do rings; they did watches. When you went,
Wait.
well, they're Italian too. Maybe that's a
no, it was like the he was telling me about it. It was
You
like
mean back then? Oh, like when you won.
Like they didn't do like Final Four rings or anything. It was a watch, and he wore it on his wedding day.
I thought you meant at the wedding.
But that,
Oh
that-
no, this
I
was like
what do you mean
3
back
years
then?
ago.
I thought we were talking about basketball. Where were we?
No, I was like,
This
hey,
kid wore a watch from.
please place
Jimmy
this
V's.
watch on your bride's wrist.
Well, I think that game was the craziest because I don't think there was 10 people in the country that thought North Carolina State had a chance.
Because Georgetown's like a power back then.
Patrick
84,
Ewing
85,
and yeah,
80,
all those that big powerhouse.
Well,
team.
then they lost to Nova, and
Right.
we just said that one. Some of my favorites. So Cinderella Run is a little different than just like a Cinderella. So, like winning one game. Florida Gulf Coast was a fun one.
That was so dunk.
Like maybe 2013 or something like that. Something, Dunk City or Lob
Dunk
City.
City.
That was a fun one. 2012, Lehigh, 15 seed beat number 2 Duke seed. Number 2 seed Duke. Do you know who was on Lehigh? 15 seed Lehigh. C.J. McCollum.
Really?
Yeah, New Orleans Pelican great.
right.
That was a fun one, just because I don't really love Duke.
I was 10 when this happened, but my favorite because you go back and watch it now.
I
Not
thought
that.
you, I thought
not
you meant that one.
No,
Which-
it was 2008 with Davidson, Seth Curry.
Oh yeah. Davidson was a good one. There was one in, I want to say it was 2006. George Mason.
Yeah.
Made the Final Four. In 06. Miami's coach, Larinaga, was their coach. There's been some great ones. That's what makes it so great. Unless it's your team.
Well,
Like
and
St.
Louisville,
Peter's.
when the
Loyola was
Daryl
fun.
Griffith and those guys,
Yeah.
they made a good run. And Arkansas had a team. I don't remember what year that was, but they
Like a Cinderella team, or when they were
well,
like really good.
They were pretty good, but they still made a deep run. And I can't remember who were some of the stars of that team. Anyway, Christian
Loyola was
Leitner.
really fun too. I
Sister
think
Jean.
Sister Jean.
What'd you say?
Yeah, I said Christian Leitner. We just say for any answer. We don't know.
I'm trying to think. 2006 George Mason
Yeah, beat UConn, go to the Final Four.
and they beat Kentucky.
What
didn't
was
they?
that team that beat
No.
Kentucky and the NIT? Would that be
Robert Morris.
Robert Morris? Could
Oh,
that be a
man.
Cinderella?
Yeah, that's Cinderella. NIT Cinderella. Well, the NIT used to be.
It was actually
boat?
made before the NCAA.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that real quick and then this podcast. What are your thoughts on Indiana declining the NIT tournament? What are your,
Lots of teams did.
I know, but like
St.
I'm
John's
specific
did.
to them.
I don't get it.
What's funny to me is like I'm fine with St. John's doing it because I'm like, yeah, Rick, yeah, let's go. But then like
Yeah.
Woody
Did-
does it,
Did
I'm like,
anybody
yeah.
see Tom Crean on today?
Yeah, that rant was
Okay.
awesome.
That rant was awesome, and I will say I think I have to agree with that. If you get any opportunity to keep your team playing, I don't know why you wouldn't do it. Keeps your team out in front of the public.
Yeah.
They keep them together. They get longer practices. They get more game time. I think it's
A friend and I were talking
Crazy
today
to turn
about
that down.
about that declining the NIT, and we had both said, if you're the Providence coach who goes on his rant about not getting in, and Patino going on his rant about not getting in the tournament, if you go on one of those rants where you're like, we should have been in, we weren't even on the bubble, we were on the bubble and we weren't even considered, and then you go and lose in the NIT,
well that was my take.
they're afraid of losing.
Right here, especially for Mike Woodson. You think about it.
Yeah.
Him turning that down he's got so much heat right now, and the fans are on him.
They already
and-
guaranteed his job back, though. But
Well,
I agree
if-
with
if
you.
he
You
did
can't
well,
go in and lose the
But
first
he goes
game.
in and loses the
Yeah.
first round in the NIT, and I mean they're going to run him.
Fans are
down.
like, we want Tom Crean back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That rant was great.
Yeah.
No, I really do think that if you plant your stake in the ground and go, we should have been in the NCAA tournament, and then you lose your first game or even your second game of the NIT.
Well, here's
They-
another
they don't
take
wanna
on
lose.
that. Think about it. Maybe those teams that, like Indiana State, are the ones that probably we all would agree that should be in the tournament.
Sure.
Maybe they turned it down, but the teams that didn't have a chance to get in anyway, like Indiana's,
Yeah.
there's no way they should turn that down.
Yeah,
I mean,
just-
they didn't deserve to be in the NCAA.
Indiana State
so,
went, right?
uh,
They're going to NIT,
I didn't
right?
see that today. I would.
I think
I
they
would think
are.
they probably would. But
And Seton Hall is.
And to be fair, we're like the 100-mile radius. We're the only people that care. Indiana State didn't get in.
Yes.
So it's
and,
like,
I mean, and
And
think about
Rex
this.
Specs.
Can you believe that
he would've
Louisville
won.
didn't get invited to the NIT? that's funny.
Love it.
Yeah, I know.
well,
Actually, I want them to be good again.
thank you guys for
More
watching
fun.
the podcast. March Madness starts this week. Make sure you're watching again. Shout out to our sponsor, Focus Pro. If you need a tool to help you craft your game in any sport, go to focuspro.biz today and get you a pair.